Do you get upset when people tell you that you mumble a lot and they can't understand you? What about having a sibilant, splashy sounding voice? Or do people complain that you constantly say or other filler sounds when you're thinking of the next thing you're saying? I'm Peter Baker, professional voiceover and vocal trainer, and in this video, I'll give you the reasons you're doing these things and some simple exercises for you to solve the problems and to improve the sound of your voice. Right? So here we go. First of all, mumbling. How can we reclaim clarity and confidence? Well, mumbling is often less about being lazy with speech and more about how we feel in the moment or how we've learned to communicate over time. Now, common underlying causes include low self-confidence or imposter syndrome. If you've ever felt like you don't deserve to be heard, you may unconsciously pull back your voice, and this ends up as mumbling. Or poor posture. Slouching compresses the diaphragm down here. It restricts your breath, thus dulling vocal projection. And also with breathing, shallow breathing, because without enough breath support, speech becomes flat, fast, and unclear. And it could be to do with habit. Some people simply learn to speak this mumbling way early on, perhaps to avoid drawing attention to themselves or because others around them did the same. And it could, of course, be a combination of any of these factors. So, anything that is learned can be unlearned. So here is how to unlearn mumbling. Just remember this. Clear speech is not about talking louder. It's about using your body well. Write that down. Put it on the wall. Look at it every day. You can get this. You can beat this. First exercise I can give you is posture reset. Stand against a wall. Put your heels, your hips, and your shoulders, and your head. Now they should all touch the wall unless you have real problems with your posture. And if it hurts too much, don't do it. But just feel how open your chest becomes and how deeply you can breathe if you can do this. This is your speaking posture. So your heels, your hips, your shoulders, and your head should all touch the wall. All right? Just remember how you feel when you're in that position when you move away from it. Do this every morning before you get dressed and again before you go to bed. Eh? Exercise 2 I can give you is a breath foundation exercise, diaphragmatic breathing. You should sit or lie down with one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Right? Now simply inhale deeply through your nose and do that for 4 counts, letting your belly rise. And if it doesn't rise, you're not doing it properly. That's why you need your hand there. You need to exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. So inhale for 4 through the nose, exhale through your mouth for 6. Aim to keep your chest still. Let this still, let your belly do the moving. A lot of people have got into a bad habit of chest breathing. In other words, just lightly breathing up here. That's no good at all. You need to get that diaphragm working. It's really good for your general health as well. And I would do 5 sets a couple of times daily. By the way, if you'd like to connect with myself and a growing community of people just like you, who all want to improve their voices for all different reasons, then please click on the link somewhere around this video to check out my Voice Power Coach community and access even more voice training. We've got Q&A, resources, full courses. It's all there. Okay, let's continue. Exercise 3. Over-articulation. Now, this is where you pick a short text, a sentence or two. Just find it from a random magazine, newspaper, a book from the shelf. Read it out loud, but really over-exaggerate every syllable. Open your mouth wider than usual, over-enunciate, then read it again normally. But this time you'll notice, my clarity has improved because you've stretched your mouth. You probably didn't open your mouth like that before for ages, till you were at a football match maybe, I don't know. But no, most of us are lazy with moving our mouth around too much. Okay, let's move on to sibilance, how to manage that nasty, hissy, S sound. Sibilance refers to overly sharp or whistling S sounds that can pierce, it can distract certainly. Now it's sometimes due to dental structure, gaps or alignment issues can affect airflow, making that nasty S sound. But mostly it's to do with tongue positioning, because with the tongue too far forward, this can create hiss or sibilance, or simply low vocal pressure. Now this is one thing that can cause the mumbling that we mentioned in the last section, because if you're speaking too softly without breath support, those S sounds dominate because the rest of the voice isn't carrying enough weight. Now, it's fine to speak softly, but unless you've got that breath support there, unless you've got your breathing right, you've got this diaphragm working, you aren't going to get the continuous air you need. And if you don't get that, you're likely to get into a sibilant habit. Now, anything that can be learned can be unlearned altogether now. Absolutely. So those habits, when you are learning to speak as a child, can be unlearned. So let me give you a good exercise. It's a tongue position awareness exercise. Say a word starting with S, such as see. Say it slowly. See. Where's your tongue? Huh? Where is it? Is it touching the top teeth? See. Try a word, sun. Sun. Do it slowly. Yep, your tongue is too far in front. Try placing your tongue a millimeter further back from your upper teeth, or 2 or 3. You're not going to measure it with a ruler, but you can feel. Your mouth is sensitive enough to know where your tongue is. So repeat with different S words, experimenting with tongue placement until that S feels softer. So touching the teeth, it comes out like th. Back, it's th. Moving it back. If it's too far back, you don't get the proper sound of the word, do you? So it's the middle section you need to go for. But don't touch the back of the teeth. Pretend it's electrified or something with S words. So a good exercise is to read a list of words that start with the letter S. Find a dictionary. If you've got one of them still in your house, or look up a dictionary, and then look for all the S words and see how you get on with that. And just note where your tongue is. Exercise 2. Vocal pressure boost. Try humming a steady note with your lips closed. Give it some energy. Now, speak a sentence with S's in, using that same vocal energy. You see, this trains you to support your voice, so sibilance doesn't stick out, because mming is quite easy, isn't it? There's also something you can do with a straw. If you speak through a straw into a glass of water, this strengthens your vocal folds. It balances your breath pressure as well. In fact, there are even professional versions of the humble straw that voice actors use. It has fancy adjustments and all that, but a simple drinking straw is fine for you to test this out. Do this for a couple of minutes a day. Now, let's finally end with people filling pauses in thought, saying the dreaded and other filler sounds like yeah, it's a comfort mechanism, isn't it? It buys time to think. It avoids silence, which can feel awkward, and often it masks anxiety or the fear of saying the wrong thing. People often don't realize how often they use these fillers until they listen back to themselves. But rest assured, it's not a sign of low intelligence or laziness. It's a habit. And like all habits, it can be broken. So here's how to unlearn filler sound habits. Exercise 1. The power pause. You need to practice intentional silence and know that no one's going to butt in the middle of your speech or whatever you're saying to a friend or whatever. You need to record yourself answering a question like, what's a book that's changed your life? Or your favorite film or whatever. Speak slowly. When you feel the urge to say, or whatever, just pause silently instead of making an absolute effort to do this. And you can do this yourself. Your friend doesn't need to be with you unless you really trust them. Just review the recording. Record yourself just answering a question that you know the answer to. Now you'll begin to trust silence as a strength then, not a failure. And pauses very important. Exercise 2, conscious listening. Now, this is where you watch or listen to a speaker you like, you admire. Note how often they pause without filler, without saying and ah. Now, imitate them. Play back the speaker on YouTube, whatever phrase at a time, and then pause the video, and then you copy their exact timing, exact rhythm, and their confidence. Now, this technique, where you play a sentence of someone you admire, you repeat, play, repeat, play, repeat. This technique works very well with some people. And of course, you're not trying to imitate them. You are going to take their good features and place it in your own voice and the way that you say things. Third exercise, word buffer swap. Here you can train your brain to replace with a real word. For example, say, instead of I'm going to say, I think. So every time you were going to go I think. Yeah? And then you replace it with silence, because that's the ideal. You don't want to end up with getting rid of and then having just as irritating, I think. Or you could have well, or ideally you want to pause. But you may find the previous exercise is a bit too far. So this is a halfway house. So write down some safe words or phrases to use instead of filler sounds and rehearse them. Look, your voice isn't broken. It's just carrying the imprints of habits, attitudes, and old strategies that no longer serve you. Oh yes, change takes awareness and consistent effort. But many actors, broadcasters, speakers, and professionals once felt the same way about their voice until they did the work to reclaim it. If your voice feels like something to be ashamed of, know this. You don't have to stay quiet. You don't have to mumble or hiss or fill the space with apologies. You can relearn to speak clearly, calmly, and confidently. And most of all, you deserve to be heard. And that's why I'd like to invite you to our ever-expanding community of people who are all there to improve their voice or make money from their voices as voice artists like myself. There are training courses, downloadable resources, and all sorts of really valuable tips and hacks to help you speak and communicate well, and we add to it every day. Please check out the link around this video, and I look forward to meeting you inside.